Okay. Jim and Ita, these
Yes,
are very big friends.
very good friends.
Our friends. You are very
Oh yes,
big.
yeah, your
Very
friends. Yes,
bunte,
yes.
yes. Wonderful couple. How long have you been married for?
40 years.
40 years.
43 years this Thursday.
43.
Yes,
And a great witness of committed love and faithful love.
yes, yes. That is literally true. And you say, what kind of love?
Fa-
Committed love.
yeah,
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Into eternity.
into
We
it.
decided upon that when we said we would, when we exchanged promises, vows in our case.
Uh-huh.
That was it. There's never been any suggestion of moving from that absolute static situation that we are married wife, and that was it.
How have you tell us something about how has the relationship grown and have you ever had any conflict? Are
I think
you
I have become, excuse me talking so much,
Come on.
but
yeah.
I have become happier as I have accepted the situation. And I feel a real, genuine happiness. Although we are different in temperament, there is no question, absolutely opposite. Ita is quiet, conservative, calm, very quite kind, very kind. She's a very kind person. And I am very judgmental, very bad tempered, very very noisy, very positive, very outgoing. In any sense, if he was a marriage counsellor, he would say, don't you two get married under any circumstances because you grow completely different and it would be absolutely ruination. But with the grace of God, and I do believe this is very important, the grace of God is part of the sacrament. And we must remember that marriage is a sacrament. I remember the day that we were married, 1979, it was snowing, everything was against us. Ita was married with a pair of Wellingtons, wellies because of the snow situation. Beautiful dress, and all the rest of it, wellies. But when we were back home and we were gathered together in the house with our guests, I'd never seen, and I don't think ever since, Ita so happy. She radiated happiness, and I've never said that to Ita maybe before, but it is a fact. And I thought to myself, that is the grace of the sacrament. This completely inexplicable, not inexplicable, but this unusual happiness which which Ita was revealing. But as I said, I believe very much in the grace, and also, of course, the fact that we must take into account that where is a negative side, where there is a positive side, where there is a negative side to an argument, for example, or a situation, there is the positive side as well. I believe very much in the law of compensation, insofar as we miss out on certain points because of our temperament, it increases the other side. It's a little bit of a hobby myself in trying to see the other side of the situation. It will now take over because I've said enough.
Yeah, yeah. I think the biggest thing about a marriage is give and take, and as Jimmy said, if you're two different temperaments, one complements the other. You know, if he's a bit more loud and everything than I am, I kind of balance that out and calm him down and see the other side, make peace all the time. So I think that is important, that you have the balance between one and the other.
So have you ever got annoyed by each other?
Oh yes.
How do you overcome that?
I
How do
just go I
dialogue?
just go away and be quiet for a while. Then after a while come back and
What's that question?
if you get
Did we ever?
get annoyed with each other, and I say yes.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
Yeah.
Go and carry on.
So just to go away and pray about it and kind of compose myself again, and then go back and usually just ignore anything happened rather than, I think sometimes when you bring up the conversation again and say, well, this is what happened and it upset me and all that, it makes it worse. I think it's just better sometimes to just get on with life and kind of forget it.
Yeah, we work very positively on that particular point, and what happened today is an example. I was annoyed with Eden because of her tone of voice, because she knows that I would do anything for her, and I got the impression that she felt that I wasn't pulling my weight in asking her to go and get the dinner, and instead of actually I should have done it, and which I would have done, and there was a misunderstanding. So I indicated that I wasn't very happy to her mildly, but immediately afterwards I came back again and I said, Ida, is there anything, I'm going to get some ice cream afterwards, after the dinner. Is there anything I can do for you? And that was it. Oh, it's all over. And Ida quite cheerfully said, no thanks, I've got a cup of tea, that's fine. And it was all brushed away. And Ida didn't even realise, I think, what was at stake and had happened with the situation being as it was.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a case we've got to bear in mind to the point when it becomes an automatic response. If there is a difference of opinion, there is an immediate compensation. It has to be immediate. Not I'll do it when tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning's too late. It is if there is that difference or a growing difference being established, something's got to be done straight away. And it has got to be done cerebrally, with an intention. It doesn't come easily. I went into the kitchen to get my dinner. I was thinking, well, oh yes, I need the medication. So Ida puts out my medication for me very faithfully. And I came back and I was able to ask her. And that was it, the healing point. The medication's there. It was all ready. So for the eye. And that was it.
And I find that one thing that I see in you is also the very beautiful, is the love in the suffering, because you've both of you have passed through different health problems recently, and to see the support of each other to one another.
Yes.
I feel really I'm Jimmy's carer now, because he won't admit it because he's very independent, but he needs a lot of care and attention and watching to keep him safe. And I'm quite happy to do that. And I think it has made us closer, actually, that we are looking after each other more than we ever did or ever had to.
It is a fact that I almost resent that particular, which is wrong. But I suppose it's the independence, and the male doesn't want to be subservient to it, but there's no question of it. Yesterday, for example, I went somewhere, I went for a walk somewhere, up the hill by myself. And I got to the top of the hill and I said, I can't do any more. I said, this is the limit because of my situation anyway. And I came back again and I did explain to Ida, I said, that was it. The top of the hill there is as much as I can, because I had been thinking of doing a sponsored walk around the island, around the island, 60 miles, Jimmy walking, yeah? I could do that easily, yeah. No, you can't. You could have done it 50 years ago, but not now. And I'm finding it difficult, whereas Ida steps in. And my resentment, which is understandable, the male having to accept the female's very honest, open, necessary help.
Yeah, and this is the vows, isn't it? I see in you the vows in health and in sickness, in for better and for worse, and it's a beautiful witness to see the commitment and the care for one another.
we had a lovely little gesture during prayer a couple of days ago. We were in the presence of the Blessed Sacrament, exposed in the monstrance, and Ita came in late. Well, not late because it's come as you have time. And I was already established, my chair, and Ita's chair was the other side of the room in the presbytery. And she picked up the chair and she came across and she put it next to me so that she could sit next to me. Although we were in the presence of the Blessed Sacrament, we weren't talking to each other, we weren't even recognizing each other, but she wanted to be close to me. And I remember seeing Margaret, if you know Margaret, recognizing this little gesture and being very pleased. And I could feel the pleasure of the witness of affection. Because sometimes I tell Ita, you love me, but you don't like me, which is quite a debatable point. And it is true in a sense there are things that I do that she didn't like before I stopped altogether. Occasionally, I'd drink a bottle of wine by myself, and I knew she didn't like it. Ita didn't like it at all. And I could say, yeah, you do love me, but you don't like some things I do, which is acceptable, understandable. And I think that if we took that particular point, you can love somebody deeply, not particularly like them, in the sense that it's more true to say, not like what they do.
Not like everything that they do.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
That's all right.
For this great witness that many people need to see and to know, the commitment and the greatness of love.
Yeah.